Hey everyone, you're watching Tamit Saleh's Tennis Forum, and we are back in the studio. As you can see, this past week it's been a lot of on the road videos, up and down from the O2 Arena. I'm not complaining, I had a fantastic time, and I hope you guys enjoyed the extended coverage for the World Tour Finals. But it's over now and we are back. I must say it is good to be back here. It may be the off season, but we have no off seasons here on this channel. Today for Tennis Tuesday, you are going to get a two-part special. In the first part, we are going to be looking at the final ATP rankings for 2019, and in part 2 we will be looking at the Davis Cup, a tournament which is underway right now. It's had some changes to its format. A lot of people have had their opinions on it, and we're going to ask the question, is it a good change or a bad change? But for today we are going to be looking at the 2019 year-end rankings, what we could potentially expect in 2020, and just a brief overview of the World Tour Finals. If you haven't already, then please do subscribe, as I do release weekly videos, and let's see if we can reach 50 thumbs up for this one. Without further ado, let's roll the intro. So the 2019 season is over after quite an epic tournament in London, and here is your final leaderboard on how 2019 ended. Rafa Nadal, year-end number 1 for the 5th time, which ties him alongside his two great rivals, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. He ended the year on 9,985 points. In second place, Novak Djokovic on 9,145. It's quite significant that, with the ATP Cup happening before the Australian Open, it is said to have 750 ranking points. We still don't know how that's going to be split up, or if, it's each member of the winning team will get that. But after Rafa's 2 round-robin wins compared to Novak's 1 in London, the gap between them is over 750, which ensures he will be number 1 going into Australia. This is a really big achievement for Rafa, and fun fact, he becomes the oldest year-end number 1. That title was previously held by Novak Djokovic when he won it last year at 31 years old. Rafa this year now wins it, and he's 33 years old. I think we might see a little bit of a to and fro with this record, as whenever now Novak Djokovic or Rafa, if they, finish the year as number 1 in the future, they will always be taking that record from each other. Let's see, this could be the last time they finish year end number 1. They have been the two standout performers of 2019, splitting the slams 2 and 2, and also winning 2 Masters 1000 titles each. And they are quite far ahead of the rest of the pack, which is why I've done this lovely blue little bracket thing next to their names. In third place, we have Roger Federer on 6,590, and then followed by Dominic Thiem. This is his career best and career high of world number 4, and he's on 5,825. He leapfrogged Daniil Medvedev in London with a very strong showing, reaching the final and narrowly missing out on the title, losing to Stefanos Tsitsipas in a third set tiebreak. Medvedev is now 5th, 5,705, followed by Tsitsipas on 5,300. From my second blue bracket, you can see that these 4 players are all fairly close to within each other. I think 1,300 points separates them, and I feel like they will be in a big battle next year on who can take these preferred 3rd and 4th spots. Zverev and Berrettini finish off the top 8, but they are quite far behind. Almost 2,000 Zverev is behind Tsitsipas. What's important for the 3rd and 4th spot is it ensures you can't face Rafa or Novak until at least the semi-finals. In general, looking at the top 8 rankings, I must say it's pretty fair. I do believe Rafa Nadal has had the best 2019. I believe Novak Djokovic had a very good 2019 as well. Potentially could have done better in some of the Masters, but yeah, he deserves 2nd place. And then Roger Federer, Dominic Thiem, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, they are the next 4 best players. Going into 2020, the big question everyone's asking, can the big 3 still dominate? Personally, I think we will see all 3 of them back in London next year. I feel like they'll all be in the top 8, barring any injuries or anything serious like that. They're not just going to fall off a cliff, but I doubt it's going to be 1, 2 and 3. If you had to ask me right now, I still believe that the world number 1 going into London next year will be one of the big three members, or well, one of Novak or Rafa. Can't say which yet. And then I do believe players like Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Dominic Thiem, potentially Sasha, but for me it's between these three guys here. They will climb up the rankings. Rafa Nadal begins his 199th week as world number one this week, so next week he'll reach that 200 milestone. How far can he go? I don't think he will catch up to Novak or Roger in terms of the weeks at number one record. He could potentially, I feel like he's not got too many points to defend. I know he has that final appearance in Australia to defend. However, Novak also has a win. So Novak will have to at least win Australia to stay level on this amount of points. Therefore, I believe even if Novak wins it and Rafa reaches the semi-finals, I don't know how this ATP Cup is working. We'll find out about that. But as it is now, a semi-final appearance is good enough for Rafa, and I do believe he'll at least get that in Australia. Then in Indian Wells, he's defending a semi-final spot there, but then he didn't even play Miami, and then the whole clay swing, he could probably improve. He didn't win a clay Masters 1000 until Rome, I believe. Therefore, I can see Rafa holding that number one spot for at least 17 to 18 weeks when the Sunshine Double begins. So yeah, that's going to be a very interesting beginning for 2020. I'm going to quickly look at some of the other notable youngsters in the top 20. We have Shapovalov, 20 years old, rank world number 15. Khachanov, 23 years old, world number 17. Alex de Minaur, 20 years old, world number 18. Felix Auger-Aliassime, 19 years old, world number 21. And Rublev, 22 years old, world number 23. All very young players, next-gen players. Next year will be very interesting. I do expect these guys to start pushing and making it into the top 10 at least. And we could potentially see a bit more from the next-gen finals winner, Yannick Sinner, world number 78. Fun fact, in 2018, exactly a year ago, he was world number 762. He's only 18 years old. So yeah, very interesting times ahead for sure in 2020. I'm going to wrap it up by briefly talking about Tsitsipas's victory in London. What an absolute final we were treated to. I am so happy I got to witness that live. A vlog will be coming out soon as I get my time to edit the videos. From the crowd's reaction, 75% for me were Tsitsipas fans. So yeah, he's clearly got a big following in London. I feel like also they bought into the whole next gen idea. Dominic Thiem, I know he's young, but for me he's not next gen, if that makes sense. He is 26 years old, so quite a little bit older than the likes of Tsitsipas, Sasha, even Medvedev, who's 23 years old. So Thiem, he falls under that middle bracket for me. I don't class him as a next gen because at 26 years old, he's not young anymore. Looking into next year, I do expect Tsitsipas and Medvedev to really push on now, climb up the rankings. I know Medvedev had a really poor end to the season, but he showed enough for me that he needs to be respected and could be a force in 2020. Tsitsipas, he started off last year or this year very well, reaching the Australian Open semi-final, beating Roger along the way, lost very comfortably to Rafa Nadal. Then he did get a win against Rafa on the clay, but then his season seemed to be dipping a little bit. He was channeling his inner Kyrgios. I felt like he lost focus and concentration a little bit. But then in the Laver Cup, and it seems to be that the Laver Cup has really inspired some of these youngsters. He seems to have got his head right, and he's had a very strong end of the season. I know he had that tough loss against Novak Djokovic in Paris, but what he has done in London is showed that he was focused, determined, and the level of play between both Thiem and Tsitsipas, it was incredible. Two other matches that really stick out from the London experience was the Rafa Nadal Medvedev, that comeback from 5-1 down in the third set. Rafa's comeback, it's going to haunt Medvedev a little bit, I believe. Next time he plays Rafa, even if he's in that winning position, like he had match points in that match, so it may play on his mind a little bit. And then the other one was Djokovic versus Thiem. It was a phenomenal match. The quality was insane. Could have really gone either way in that match, but Thiem really proved the doubters wrong. In terms of the London tournament in general, I feel like most of these players had good tournaments. Rafa, even though he lost in the round robin, I feel like he had a good tournament. He got 2 wins, 1 loss, quite unlucky to not qualify, and also secured the year-end number 1, so great tournament for him. Federer, I know he lost in the semi-finals, but I feel like he's had a brilliant London tournament as well, getting that qualification and the big win against Novak Djokovic. He has not beaten Novak, remember, for 4 years, so that was crucial, and I feel like it will help him. So good tournament for Federer. obviously good tournament for Team reaching the final. Brilliant tournament for Tsitsipas, winning the title. I feel like Zverev had a pretty good tournament, reaching the semi-finals. After the year he's had a really strong showing to qualify for London, getting that win against Rafa, and then qualifying for the semi-final, beating Medvedev as well. And I feel like Berrettini, he had a pretty good London tournament as well. I know he only won one match, however, it was his first appearance. Very tough group. Losing to Federer and Djokovic isn't any kind of embarrassment. Getting that win against Team, albeit Team was already qualified. But yeah, he's had a good tournament. The only two players I'd say probably had a bad tournament would be Medvedev, of course, losing all three, and Novak Djokovic, who after a very strong start against Berrettini, just couldn't get another win and could not steal that year-end #1 title from Rafa. So this is it. This is your 2019 rankings. How will 2020 look? I will release videos in the future in the off season where I'll go through 2019 tournament by tournament and also give some more predictions for 2020, so do keep an eye out for that. As I said earlier, this is only part 1, so in part 2 we will be looking at the Davis Cup. It is on right now. Very controversial. Changes to its format. Some people like it, some people don't like it, to say the least. So I'm going to be looking at that. I'm going to be quoting players like Roger Federer, Andy Murray, ex-players like Leighton Hewitt, what Gerard Piqué has had to say, a footballer who's in charge of the tennis tournament. And yeah, I'll see you on part 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please do leave a thumbs up. I did say I want to reach 50 on this video. And subscribe if you haven't already. Do share your thoughts. This is a tennis forum, so essentially the channel is all about you guys. I love hearing what you guys have to say, and I try to respond to most, if not all, of your channel. It is good to be back, guys. Good to be back. Thank you very much for watching.